Christmas dinner took an unexpected turn when my entitled daughter-in-law, out of the blue, declared that in the new year, we must surrender our home to her and relocate. I responded with laughter and showed her the door. The following day, however, brought a shocking twist. I'm Michael, 57, and in all my years, I've never encountered anyone as self-centered as my daughter-in-law, Sophia. I've faced all sorts, some difficult, some unreasonable, but she was in a league of her own. The type who constantly takes, never satisfied, always convinced she's owed more. From the day she married my son, Ryan, I did everything to support them. I even gifted them a cozy one-bedroom apartment in a prime location as a wedding present. It wasn't extravagant, but it was a solid start, far better than what most young couples begin with. Back then, I believed it would give them stability, a foundation for their future. Little did I know that in Sophia's eyes, it was merely a stepping stone to something grander, or something she felt entitled to. The complaints started subtly, slipped into conversations like casual remarks. The apartment was too cramped. The kitchen layout wasn't ideal. They needed more storage. At first, I brushed it off, assuming it was just newlywed adjustments. But soon, the remarks grew bolder. Sophia began openly stating that the space wasn't sufficient. She argued that they deserved better, that Ryan worked hard and should have a home that reflected his efforts. The worst part? Ryan echoed her sentiments. Over time, he started voicing the same grievances, how the apartment felt too small, how it wasn't suitable for long-term living, and how their pets, not children, mind you, but pets, needed more room to roam. I tried to stay composed, reminding myself that Ryan was still my son, that marriage changes people. But deep down, I was furious. I had given them a home, a free home, and instead of gratitude, they acted as if I'd handed them a prison cell. I bit my tongue for years, mostly because my wife, Diane, urged me to keep the peace. She knew how much Sophia irked me, but she hated conflict. So I endured the jabs, the complaints, the entitlement, until Christmas dinner. The house was decorated just as Diane liked. The aroma of roasted turkey filled the air, holiday tunes played softly, and for a while, everything felt normal. I even let my guard down, thinking we might make it through the evening unscathed. I was mistaken. Midway through dinner, Sophia set down her fork, cleared her throat, and in her usual matter-of-fact tone, announced they'd decided to make some major changes in the new year. At first, I assumed she meant a job change or a new apartment. But no. She looked me dead in the eye and declared that since our house was perfect for them, Diane and I should move to the lakeside cottage and let them take over. For a moment, I thought it was a joke, but her expression was dead serious, as if this were a perfectly reasonable request. Something inside me snapped. Years of pent-up frustration erupted, and I couldn't hold back. I laughed, a loud, disbelieving laugh that silenced the room. Then I told her exactly what I thought. If space was such an issue, perhaps she should focus on giving us grandchildren instead of hoarding pets. And if the pets needed more room, they could sleep outside. The room went dead silent. Sophia's face turned to stone. Without a word, she stood, grabbed her coat, and walked out. Ryan hesitated, glancing between us, then followed her. I assumed that was the end of it. A few days of sulking, maybe some passive-aggressive texts, and then back to normal. But the next day, everything changed. I woke up feeling oddly relieved. After years of silence, I'd finally spoken my mind. Sophia had stormed out, Ryan had trailed after her, and for the first time in ages, I didn't feel like I was walking on eggshells. I figured Ryan would reach out eventually, to apologize, explain, or pretend nothing happened. What I didn't expect was what came next. Diane was the first to check her phone that morning. Her face tightened as she read a long message. Silently, she handed me the phone. It was from Ryan. Sophia had packed up and left him. She wouldn't return unless Ryan fixed things, which to her meant convincing me to sign over our house. No discussion, no negotiation. Just hand it over because she'd decided it was hers. I read it twice, then a third time. Diane watched me, waiting for my reaction. My blood boiled. Sophia had abandoned her husband as a manipulation tactic. She was holding their marriage hostage, demanding Ryan force me to surrender my home before she'd even consider coming back. And the kicker? Ryan wasn't angry. He wasn't outraged. Instead, he was pleading with me to understand her perspective. I set the phone down, gripping the table to steady myself. Diane, ever the mediator, suggested we at least consider it, for the sake of family harmony. I stared at her in disbelief. Consider giving up the home I'd built over a lifetime because Sophia threw a tantrum? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. It was my sister, Laura. Michael, have you seen this? Check Facebook, now. I opened the app, and there it was, a post from Sophia. A lengthy, melodramatic rant about how she'd been wronged by selfish in-laws who refused to support her and Ryan. She painted herself as the victim, claiming they'd been forced out due to cruelty and greed. The comments were flooded with sympathy. Friends, distant relatives, even strangers siding with her. Families should help each other, not hoard what they don't need. You and Ryan deserve better. She'd spun the narrative masterfully. Diane read over my shoulder, her worry palpable. Within hours, my phone was ringing nonstop. Ryan, my brother, cousins, even Diane's coworkers who'd seen the post. Sophia had ignited a war, and I was done playing defense. By noon, Ryan showed up at our door, exhausted and defeated. He begged Diane to talk sense into me, claiming Sophia just wanted to feel like part of the family. I nearly laughed again. Equal? After everything I'd given them? Then my brother Daniel arrived, holding up his phone. Our mother had seen the post and was hysterical, convinced I'd thrown Ryan and Sophia out on the street. Sophia had dragged the entire family into her drama, twisting the story to make me the villain. The house fell silent after Daniel left. Diane sat across from me, her voice gentle but firm. Michael, we need to step back. This isn't just about Sophia anymore, it's about Ryan. If we don't give in, we might lose him. I recoiled. Give up our home? But Diane's words hit hard. We can rebuild a house. We can't rebuild Ryan. It took me 3 sleepless nights to accept it. I walked through the house, touching every wall, remembering every memory. On the 4th day, I called Ryan and told him we'd move to the cottage. He didn't ask if I was sure. He didn't offer to help. Within 24 hours, Sophia was back, acting as if nothing had happened. They threw a housewarming party weeks later. I attended for Ryan's sake, watching as Sophia gave tours like she'd designed the place herself. She'd even turned the garage into a pet paradise for her 4 cats. I said nothing. Over the next year, cracks appeared. Ryan started visiting us alone, mentioning fights, money troubles, and Sophia's endless demands for renovations. Then, one day, he showed up with a suitcase. Sophia was gone, for good this time. A note on the counter, an empty closet. She'd moved west to find herself. Ryan moved into our guest room. We didn't talk much about the past. The old house sat empty until, months later, our neighbor called. Sophia's car was in the driveway. She'd kept a key and posted smug Instagram stories about reclaiming her throne. I called the cops, had her removed, changed the locks, and sold the house. Ryan didn't protest. He's still with us, rebuilding his life. The house is gone, and so is Sophia. So here's my advice. If anyone ever guilt trips you into surrendering your home to keep the family together, ask yourself who you're really doing it for. Sometimes, family means knowing where to draw the line, and never letting certain people cross it again. Cottage settled into a quiet rhythm. Ryan continued therapy, slowly regaining his confidence. He took on more freelance projects, and though he rarely spoke of Sophia, the shadow of her departure lingered in his occasional silences. Diane and I gave him space, knowing some wounds heal best without prying. Then, one evening over dinner, Ryan surprised us. "I've been thinking," he said, pushing his food around his plate. "I want to buy my own place. Nothing fancy. Just something small mine." Diane's eyes welled up, but she nodded. I clapped him on the shoulder. "That's a good plan, son." The next weekend, we helped him tour a modest 2-bedroom house on the outskirts of town. It needed work, but Ryan's eyes lit up as he pointed out where he'd put a bookshelf or how he could fix the creaky porch steps. For the first time in years, he looked like himself. Not Sophia's husband, not the son who'd been caught in the crossfire, just Ryan. The sale went through quickly. As we helped him move in, Diane whispered to me, "He's going to be okay." Meanwhile, the old house, now under new ownership, became a distant memory. The young family who bought it painted the walls cheerful colors and turned Sophia's pet paradise back into a garage. Life moved on. Then, out of the blue, Sophia resurfaced. It started with a friend request on social media. Ryan ignored it. Next came emails, long, rambling messages about closure and unfinished business. She claimed she'd changed, that she'd been in therapy, that she regretted how things ended. Ryan deleted them unread. But Sophia wasn't done. One rainy Tuesday, she showed up at Ryan's new doorstep. Diane and I were there, helping him install a ceiling fan when the doorbell rang. Ryan opened it, and there she stood, drenched, clutching a soggy bouquet of grocery store flowers. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ryan didn't yell. He didn't slam the door. He just said, very calmly, "No." Then he closed it, locked it, and walked back to us like nothing had happened. Sophia pounded on the door for a full minute before giving up. Through the window, I watched her throw the flowers into a puddle and storm off. She never contacted him again. That winter, Ryan started dating someone new, a librarian named Claire, who laughed at his terrible jokes and didn't care about square footage. The first time she came to the cottage for dinner, she brought Diane a homemade pie and asked me about the fishing photos on the wall. No demands, no drama, just pie. After dessert, Ryan pulled me aside. "Dad, I should have stood up to Sophia sooner. I'm sorry." I shook my head. "You learned. That's what matters." Now, when people ask me how things turned out, I tell them this. The house is just a house. Family is what you protect. Some people will always see kindness as weakness. Don't let them mistake the two. And if someone ever tells you their cats need more room than your lifetime of memories, change the locks before they ask. Last month, Claire and Ryan got engaged. They're renting a place near the library, and yes, they adopted a cat. Just one. It sleeps on the couch. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.